All right, here we go, continuing the Algebra I Regents Review series. So we're going over the January 2024 New York State release questions for the Algebra Regents. The link to the Regents questions are in the description of the video. So if you want to go ahead and try them first and then watch me go over them, so you know if you got them right or wrong, that would probably help. So we went over 1 through 6 in the first video. So I'm going to go down to number 7 and start there. So if you want to see the earlier questions, you can look at that earlier video. All right, so let's jump right into it. Number 7, if f of x equals x squared, which function is the result of shifting f of x 3 units left and 2 units down? So we're given a parent function, f of x equals x squared, where it's a parabola with the vertex of 0, 0. And then we're asked to perform some shifts. So what I wrote in red over here is the vertex form of the parabola, where hk is our vertex. So you notice that k is responsible for our vertical shift, whether that parabola is going to move up or down. So if we add something outside of that parentheses where the x is, it's going to move the parabola up. It's going to shift upwards. And if we subtract, it's going to shift it down. Okay. So when I look back in my problem, I see that 2 units down is the shift that they want us to make. So that means that the k is going to be a -2. So again, the number that's outside of the parentheses where the x is going to control up and down movement, vertical shifts. If it's addition, we're moving up. And if it is subtraction, we're moving down. So that k is going to be replaced with a -2. So actually that means that I can already see my answer, but let's go ahead and double check that the rest of it is correct. So now the h variable is going to determine my horizontal shift, whether that parabola is moving left or right. Now, if you notice in the formula, it says x minus h. So if it's minus h, that means that the h, when it's a minus sign, is moving to the right, but if it's an addition sign, is moving to the left. So probably the opposite of what you might have thought. So keep that in mind when we're thinking about horizontal shift. If a number is being subtracted from the x, we're moving to the right. If a number is being added to the x, we're moving to the left. So when I look at this problem and I see that they want a 3 units left shift, that means that I want to replace that h with a +3 to go to the left. All right. And when I look at my answer choices, I see that answer choice number 3 does just that. It has a +3 inside of the parentheses, which is going to be my shift to the left. And then it has a -2 outside of the parentheses, which is going to be my shift downwards. All right. Number 8. Let me get this work out of here. All right, number 8 says an equation used to find the velocity of an object is given as v squared equals u squared plus 2as, where u is the initial velocity, v is the final velocity, and a is the acceleration of the object, and s is the distance traveled. When this equation is solved for a, the result is, okay, so when we go to solve for a variable, all we have to do is a bunch of inverse operations correctly. All right, so I'm trying to get a by itself. So let me rewrite the original equation they gave us. So v squared equals u squared plus 2as. All right, so I see that that a is part of the 2as term. So I don't want to touch that yet because there's other things to get rid of. That u squared that's being added to it, I'm going to get rid of that first by doing the inverse operation. So I'm going to subtract u squared from both sides. Now, v squared and u squared, of course, are not like terms, so I'm not actually going to get a difference there, but I'm just going to rewrite it as a subtraction problem. So v squared minus u squared, that's the left side, equals, now on the right side, because I did u squared minus u squared, that canceled itself out, and now I'm left with 2as. All right, so I'm one step closer to getting the, what are we looking for, a? Yeah, the a by itself. So now we always just ask ourselves, what's happening to the a, and then what's the inverse operation of that? So now a is being multiplied by both the 2 and the s. So I can do this in 2 separate steps, or I can just get rid of it all in one. If I divide on the right side by 2s, what's going to happen is those will both cancel out because 2 divided by 2 is 1, s divided by s is 1, and 1 times a is, of course, just a. So because a was being multiplied by the 2 and the s, I'm going to do the opposite, the inverse operation, and divide by 2s to get rid of both of those. Of course, whatever I do on the left, I have to do, whatever I do on the right, I have to do on the left as well. So on the left side, I'm going to divide by 2s also. So on the right, my a will be by itself, and you will recognize that choice 2 looks like exactly what we got. I just didn't finish it there. Okay? So object is just to get it by itself by using inverse operations. Number 9. Let's clear this out again. All right, Mrs. Smith's math class surveyed students to determine their favorite flavors of soft ice cream. The results are shown in the table below. All right, so we've got a frequency table below. Remembering that these numbers in here are numbers, they are not percents. And they want to know of the students who preferred chocolate. So what I want you to realize is when you see this, of the students who preferred chocolate, this is your denominator. When we talk about out of something, that's the denominator of a fraction. So before I even keep reading, I'm just going to go ahead and set up what that denominator is. So of the students who preferred chocolate. So who preferred chocolate? We'll go to the column that has chocolate as a preference. And then you have juniors and seniors that prefer chocolate. So if we want to know of the total students that prefer chocolate, we're going to have to add up that 67 plus 42 to find out how many kids prefer chocolate. So if we add those up, we're going to get 109 in our denominator. So when they say of the students who prefer chocolate, that's the same thing as saying of the 109 students. So that's our denominator. And now let's see what they want to know. They want to know out of those 109, approximately, so we're going to be able to round here, approximately what percent were seniors. So out of the kids who prefer chocolate. So we're not looking anywhere else in the senior column. So we don't care about the seniors who chose vanilla. We don't care about the seniors who chose twist. We don't care how many total seniors there are. We just want to know how many seniors chose chocolate as their preference. So that number is 67. So this fraction over here on my right shows me that 67 out of 109 is the fraction I'm looking for. So if I go ahead and divide that out so that I can make this a percent, I'm going to get something like 0.6147. They want an estimate, and if I make this a percent, it's going to be 61.47, making 61.5 a pretty approximate answer, right? Number 10, if f of x equals x squared plus 2x plus 1 and g of x equals 3x plus 5, what is the value of f of 1 minus g of 3? So my advice to you here is to organize your work. You know that you have to find f of 1, and then you know you have to find g of 3, and then finally you have to subtract them. But organize that work for finding each of those first. So let's work on f of 1. So f of 1 just means that we're going to find the value of this function when x is 1. So we're going to substitute every x that we see with the value of 1. So, and we're looking at f of x right now, right? This has nothing to do with g of x. So f of 1 is going to be equal to 1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 1. Okay, take a second, make sure you understand what I did. All I did was substitute every x that I saw in this f of x equation that I circled, and I substituted it with the value 1, which we want to know. All right, 1 second. So now I'm just going to evaluate. So you can throw this whole thing in your calculator, or you can do it by hand, but 1 squared is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 comes down, and we get f of 1 is equal to 4. So this is the first important part of my problem. I found f of 1. Now I still need to find g of 3 because they want me to take f of 1 and subtract g of 3 from it. So let's do similar type of work for g of 3. So now I need to write down that other expression, which is 3x plus 5. So now I'm going to substitute g of 3 is equal to, now I'm going to substitute the x with 3. And in that second equation, there's only one x to be substituted. So now instead of writing 3x plus 5, I'm going to write 3 times 3 plus 5. So I replace the x with the 3 because we're looking for g of 3. We're trying to find the value of this function when x is 3. What's the y? All right. I'm just going to do some math here to evaluate this. I get 9 plus 5, and that's going to give me g of 3 equals 14. All right, second important part of my work. I found f of 1, I found g of 3. My last step is that I'm supposed to subtract those. So f of 1 is 4 minus g of 3 is 14. And as long as I subtract correctly, I'm going to get negative 10, which is choice number 3 on this. All right. Clear up some space for number 11. All right, number 11 wants to know, which function has the largest y-intercept? So the y-intercept being the point or points on the graph where a function is going to cross the y-axis. Algebraically, it's the point where the x value is 0. So two different ways to find it out depending on whether or not you have an equation or a graph. So I'm looking for the y-intercept for each of these, and I'm looking for the largest one. So in choice number 1, I have a linear function, y equals mx plus b. I know that the b value is my y-intercept. Okay, that's my y-intercept here, -1. So that's a line that has a slope of -4, a y-intercept of -1. So there's my y-intercept for answer choice number 1. Answer choice number 2 is an absolute value function. Again, the y-intercept is the point where the x value is 0, because all along the y-axis, the x value is 0, right? It goes 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. So the x is always 0. So if I just substitute a 0 into g of x, I'm going to get that the y-intercept here is 3. So here's my b here. Now I'm looking for the highest one. Yeah, the largest y-intercept. So because I'm looking for the largest one, and I already found 2 of them, I'm going to cross out answer choice number 1 because answer choice number 3 has a higher y-intercept than 1. So 1 is gone. Let's keep working. Number 2, sorry, I went horizontal instead of down. So answer choice number 2, remember I said the y-intercept occurs where the x value is 0. So on this table, you see an x value of 0. And at that point, the corresponding y value is 2. So for answer choice number 2, my y-intercept is 2. So again, I'm going to cross that one out as well because 2 is not the largest one since answer choice number 3 has 3 as the y-intercept. All right, and lastly, I'm looking at answer choice number 4 for the y-intercept. It is the point where this curve is going to cross the y-axis. So where does this parabola cross the y-axis? It occurs right here. Sorry, let's zoom in on this. It occurs right here, which looks like it's at or around 0, 1. So the y-intercept there is 1, which means that this answer choice is out as well. 3 was the highest answer choice that we had. So 11, the answer is 3. All right, last one we're going to go over for today. 2 texting plans are advertised. Plan A has a monthly fee of $15. When I see that keyword fee, I know that we're talking about, just like we were in the problem above, a y-intercept, right? A y-intercept of b is a number that is a constant. It's just going to be added or subtracted that one time. It's not being multiplied by anything. It's just a one-time fee. So that's my b. With a charge of 8 cents per text, when you see that word per, each, every, that's your clue that it's the slope. It's the rate of change, all right? So I'm actually going to come down here and organize this a little for myself. Plan A, I can already write the equation for it. I know that plan A is going to be y equals 0.08x, because that's my rate of change, plus 15. All right, so this shows me that if x is the number of texts, I'm paying 8 cents per text. This multiplication right here shows me 8 cents per text. Plus, I have to pay $15 per month no matter what. Okay, so if we're only talking about 1 month, I'm just doing plus 15 for that one time in the month. So that's the equation for A. Now let's look at plan B. Plan B says there's a monthly fee of $3. So there's the B for plan B is going to be plus 3 with a charge of 12 cents per text. So again, that keyword per, each, every, that means multiplication. That means rate of change because I'm multiplying each text by 12 cents. So this one's going to be y equals 0.12 multiplied by the number of texts that I send. All right. So now I have the appropriate equations for each plan. And they want to know if T represents the number of text messages in a month. So we'll replace our X's with T's. Which inequality should be used to show that the cost of plan A is less than the cost of plan B? So first of all, let's make sure we have the right inequality symbol here, right? So the equations that are dealing with 15 plus 0.08x, they want that to be shown as less than the expression for B. So we can eliminate in a couple different ways here. I think I'm going to go ahead and eliminate answer choice 3 and 4 first. And that's because in 3 and 4, I see that they've got the T, the number of texts, being multiplied by 15. So that's inaccurate because that would mean that each text message costs $15, right? You're multiplying the T, the number of text messages, by 15. So that says it's $15 for each text. And that's not correct because neither of the explanations of the plans told us that that's how much it costs. So 3 and 4 are out, all right? Now, number 1 and 2, I see that they've got the correct, in the opposite order, but it doesn't matter, expression for plan A. $15 plus 8 cents per text, right? 1 and 2 both have that. But number 1 is saying that plan A, underlined in red right now, is less than plan B. So that's correct. Whereas choice 2 is saying that plan A, which I'm underlining in red right now, is greater than choice B. So that one is not correct. So answer choice 1 is going to be our correct answer for number 12. All right. I will go over the next 2 pages in the next video. If there are any questions that were on this Regents that you would like to see more questions like those, please let me know. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe so that you know when I put out the next set of questions. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions.